when we talk of Netflix, as a brand identity, Netflix is known for it as a very premium brand. So if you have to say that Z5, I mean, of course you said rooted. So how would you describe the identity of Z5, especially in the South Indian context? How would you, what is the brand identity of Z5 and Z5?
Z as a network, as a company, has been known for its languages. I think our ability to go to a market, understand the culture, understand the rootedness of the people and the stories which come from that land, it is that differentiates us from others. I think that will be the USP of Z. While every brand will have some, you mentioned Netflix is a very premium global brand. Z is a very Indian brand which strives on regional content. Today, 60% of our OTT viewership and subscriptions come from language markets. That too, of that 60%, 80 to 90% comes from South regional markets. So we have a huge play in the southern markets. Now, as I mentioned, when we started with Telugu and Tamil, we are expanding into Kannada and Kerala markets in a big way. Kerala, as many of us already know, the film ecosystem itself is very strong and very OTT-ish in the content that that market makes. Now, how do we go there, and what is the real and the content making cost is relatively less. Kannada is a new field for us, and we are engaging with a lot of writers currently to make original web series. So that process is something which is on. So just to answer to your question, I think language will be our strength. An Indian OTT will be our strong identity. Rooted storytelling is something which we will be always focusing on. At the same time, the gaps that currently we would want to fill is how can we be technologically much more stronger, and that's something which we have our tech center here in Bangalore, and there's a huge setup with a lot of engineers working, and Z5 wants to be at that cutting edge technology to have a great UI UX experience for our viewers.
Sure. So just on now, we have two different kinds of content, right? We have the originals and then we have the films. Originals in the form of web series. So, we have two forms of content. One is the originals, which is the terminology is web series, and the other is films. So for originals, what kind of stories do you look for?
So whenever somebody pitches an original, what we have seen till now is usually it is a film idea which they just, because the platform is asking for a web series, they are willing to kind of elongate the subject. Otherwise, it is a 3-act thing that there is a start, middle, and an end. But fundamentally, where a web series differentiates itself is that it is episodic storytelling. You have a little more time to etch out your characters with little more time. You can have a world building. Sometimes in film there is not enough time to build the world of the characters that you are telling. So we look for stories which, apart from what I gave as the initial filters, which is culturally rooted, something which is very unique in the logline itself. A uniqueness in the logline is something that we really look for when somebody is pitching. Then there has to be a world around which the story happens. We are open to any sort of genres. It is I know that at a time all the OTT platforms were over-indexing on crime thrillers, but I think one of our finest content is a family drama called Aili. We have documentaries. We have recently one of our biggest successes is a series called Aingamvedam, where tech meets Veda. So what if there was a fifth Veda, and what if an AI was in search of that fifth Veda? Is the log line of it. So all these ideas which have really clicked for us, there has been a very, very unique log line. There has to be a world building that is there, characters which kind of another sub layer which we look for is if the series becomes a success, is there a potential for a season 2 or a season 3? These are some of the things that we look for. But irrespective of that, I think beyond seasons, if and very passionate storyteller, we are not necessarily looking for big banner. Most of our successful shows have been made by first-time filmmakers, first-time producers. So that is again a place where we differentiate from maybe the other big platforms. We want passionate storytellers, and that's the.
So now, for originals, do you give the brief, or is it that any one of them can produce it themselves and then bring the finished product to you and see if you are willing to buy that?
So till now, finished because there are very few. We do not have an applause kind of a system here where the producers or the investors take the content and then pitch to platforms, because everyone wants a platform to commit to their to the show before they enter into production. But maybe sometimes we will be willing to do that if the content is something which is very, very appealing. But currently that model is not there in the regional space at least. I know for a fact that Applause does it, TVF does it in the Hindi markets. Most of it is we listen to a lot of ideas. Some ideas are possibly at an idea level it is great, but it is not fleshed out. So one thing for sure is the platform is very engaged with the creator. So because I know for a fact that creators sometimes do not like that engagement that a platform has, because it's a medium which we are all still learning and figuring it out, and failures are very expensive. So the platform does engage with the creator. If the idea is 50% or so, for it to be taken to 80-90%, we use it. We do multiple writing with the creators, because at a fundamental level we believe in the idea, but we want to guide the creative team to a space basis our understanding of the platform, our understanding of what is working, what is not working. Still, a show can go wrong. I'm not saying that just because we have this, all the shows that we greenlight and produce will be successful. But at least our failure rates will be much lesser. So to answer to your question, I think everyone is. We look for that one-page concept note, a log line, and if the writer is clear in their mind as to what they want.
But let's assume that there is a past track record of the metrics that you have access to, which they don't have access to. So, but if they have to just come and tell a particular story which has a distinct identity and a distinct universe, but if there is a particular genre that the audiences resonate with largely in the South market, is there a preference? Because you already have the data, historical data with you. So when they come with that, so probably, crime thrillers work, or probably realistic short form storytelling works. So they will work around that and they will come to you. So is some kind of an idea that they can get on the kind of overall genre which the streaming viewers like or prefer watching?
So, what happens with any platform is they have an annual slate, which is the number of shows in a year which the platform wants to release. And you would have seen those slate announcements happening for a platform. Now, in a slate announcement, you do not want to over-index on one type of content. So if you have crime thrillers, if you have fantasy, if you have comedy, you could have an original film, you could have a documentary. So if, say, in a particular year, a crime thriller is already there for you on the slate, and immediately again, say, another such crime thriller is coming for a pitch, possibly it will not find an immediate green lighting. It might take some more time because for that particular year, the slate is announced. At the same time, if the idea is very strong, I think the development work will start with the creator, and that process would continue. So it is a very slate-dependent phenomena as to which kind of genres will be greenlit at a point in time.